Happy Friday night, everybody. Lenny, how we doing? We got Curtis in the house already. Curtis, how you doing? Um, Boy, what a week. It's been a crazy week. Uh, Being we're public, we'll just say wow. And been a couple of losses this week. Let's get the elephants out of the room. I will say, RIP Charlie Kirk, and also being that we are a Bigfoot channel, I'm going to put a picture up and like to take, 30 seconds to a minute to honor just a quick moment of silence for one of the guys who, put Bigfoot on the map as far as scientifically, took a lot of guff. And so Dr. Jeff passed away. I want to just take a moment to get the picture back up there. And we'll just take about 30 seconds to remember him for a moment of silence. Yeah, Lenny, it has been a heck of a week. We are, oops, sorry, just banged Bear Bear's head. Um, a little speechless, but you know what? Charlie Kirk was about having discussions. So, being Bigfoot channel and little bit things, let's have some discussions tonight and try to have a little fun in the process. Been a lot of events, a lot of scenes coming out, and hello, Jenny Sullivan from Ireland. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. I don't know how late you're up over there. It is, 9 p.m. Eastern here. So I don't know if you're in the morning or in the middle of the night, but thank you for joining. Amy, how you doing? Lenny, Dr. Meldon, Charlie Kirk, and the young Ukrainian lady. I agree. Um, I, Lenny, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but the strange thing is, I think what happened to the girl was the footage just came out, but it actually happened a couple weeks ago, right? It's still sad nonetheless, but the original topic for tonight, there have been some pretty cool stuff. We touched on Titanic and why that went down before. We've touched on the Edmund Fitzgerald and the big mystery surrounding the big uh, what happened to Edmund Fitzgerald, and there's been actually developments as to what happened. So, Trista Howard, hello. How are you doing? Lenny, yeah, I think unfortunately the footage just came out. I think it happened a couple weeks ago. A YouTuber put it out there, and then it really gained traction. So it's sad. Bigfoot Outlaw, Mr. Grizzly Chris himself is here, the man with the best beard in Bigfoot. There is an interview up with him and Mary as well. If you guys haven't watched that yet, check it out. That is a really cool interview. It's nice to see Grizzly get interviewed instead of doing the interviewing, and it's a very interesting video too. So you can't believe what actually happens on camera. I'm not going to spoil it for you because I want you to watch it. So go click. Jenny, it happened in August and it was just showing up. Yeah, that's what I thought, Jenny. Thank you for helping me out with that. Lenny. Oh, Amy did see the interview. Great stuff. So, as Val Kilmer said, Grizzly, we'll plug you and we'll make you famous, even more famous than you already are. Everybody share that video because it's good. It's a good interview, and the fact that stuff happens on camera. Grizzly and Mary just seem to be a magnet for that kind of stuff. So hopefully it stays in a good way. Edmund Fitzgerald, let's talk about that because we are coming up on that time of year for Michigan people. Miguel was awesome. We had a living purpose through God's word. I hope I said it right. Miguel was awesome. We had an awesome, amazing time with him. So Curtis is saying hello. And yeah, so new stuff, new scans. I like to keep up on that stuff. We have talked about the Edmund Fitzgerald before and the fact that, it was kind of a mystery as to what went down. We all know it was on Lake Superior in November. And it, of course, let's see here, went through one of the major storms, one of the biggest storms, and there were a lot of mysteries as to why that boat went down, took 29 people with it. Oh, Curtis, get well too. I don't know the whole situation yet, but I heard it was a rough week. And prayers for Curtis. Everybody, please send out prayers for Curtis if this is the Chicken Man, which I'm guessing. But Gavin Fitzgerald did sink, took 29 people with it. No distress, no lifeboats, no nothing. Literally just found an oil smear the next day. A lifeboat, I think they found half a lifeboat. So it went down sudden. As a matter of fact, let's see if we can find the picture from the last time we talked about it. The crazy thing is not only did it go down without a distress call, and also really no wreckage to speak of. Like I said, just kind of an oil smear. The crazy part to me is that boat was over almost 800 feet long, 729 feet long. So let's remember that. And the fact that it is, I can't find, only in 500 feet of water. When are you going to go Bigfooting with us, Brian? Good question, Mary. I have surgery on September 26th. Everything will depend on that and some results. So Bigfooting's kind of on hold at the moment. I do plan on actually spamming my woods a little bit before my surgery. So it'll be interesting because I do have a bunch of equipment I haven't got to use. I'm literally going to pull a Grizzly. I've got 2 different style trail cams. I've got, a couple of the more modern ones, but then believe it or not, what was crazy, and I know I've brought this up on the podcast before. Mary, we understand we're praying for you. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. I can use them all. I'd always talked about wanting a Polaroid camera to use because, all the modern cameras and your phones and everything, you get the pixelation where the processors are taking the picture and then they're filling in information that isn't there to try to make it whole, just like the human brain will do. So I always thought about wanting a Polaroid or something like that, where you snap the picture like the Patterson-Gimlin film, where all the information's there. You can look at it with a magnifying glass to blow it up and whatnot. And, I thought it would be nice if you could find one, the old trail cams that used to film. And, but that stuff's hard to come by now, at least around here. And believe it or not, the gym I work at, we have a dumpster. I went to take out the trash, opened the dumpster lid, and somebody had thrown a bunch of stuff that didn't belong to us in there. There was a suitcase that was full of stuff. Excuse me. And another bag that looked like it had purses in it. It got my curiosity. So yes, I dumpster dove and pulled the bag out. And in the bag with the purses, there was actually a trail cam. And so I thought, oh, what the heck? It's probably broken, but I'll take it inside and take a look at it. And open it up, and lo and behold, it's one of the older trail cams that takes film. And there was actually a roll of film in it. So I'm really trying to figure out where I can send that to get it developed, because I want to know what people are tossing. And so I thought, well, it's probably trash. That's why they threw it away. I thought, heck with it. I turned around, and 8 AA batteries later, I, pop it in, turn it around. Sure enough, I get blinded from the flash, like one of those memes that you see for the uh, vacation things, and it works. So now I have a roll of film ordered, and we are going to. It should be here Tuesday. We are going to put 3 different trail cams out. I've got 5 recorders, and we are going to put them out on Friday night, I believe, because I don't work Saturday. So Friday at dusk, I'm going to make special arrangements so I can go litter the woods with Bigfoot stuff and leave them till Sunday. And then during my recovery, I should be able to go over some recordings. I've got a couple recorders that I know have some stuff on them, but I don't have a card reader. So I had to order a card reader for the USB, blah, 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 blah. Always a device short to get everything I want. But the information is there. So I can't wait to share that with everybody. Polaroid cameras are making a comeback. Have a lot of them at Walmart. Oh, I didn't know that. New generation of them. Ooh. Well, now the question is, Amy, are they like real Polaroid where there's no processors, or do they autofocus? Because that'll be the big thing. Yeah, I couldn't believe it worked. I mean, holy cow, the trail cam gods are smiling down upon me at this point. Oh, V's here tonight. So everybody say hi to V, and the fact that I still have a home with a Bigfoot turd in the freezer. Anyway, we were talking about the Edmund Fitzgerald before I went on my tangent, and the fact that it went down, the fact that literally a third of that boat, it's 729 feet long, and it's only in 520 some feet of water. So think about that. If you stood it on end, a third of the boat roughly would be sticking out of the water. So the fact that people still perish, even though if the boat would have been sticking up, they literally could have, jumped up on there, and it's still been higher than the waves that were cruising around that night. That's crazy to think about. But anyway, so what they found now was, believe it or not, the theories out there were that it was because it had struck bottom. There was that rumor, and it was taken on water. The captain really, didn't know. For those of you who don't know, when those Great Lakes ships were built back then, they didn't have all the water alarms and stuff they do now. Everything was visual. And, and by feel, if the ship was listing, then you knew you were taking on water. But when you're getting rocked back and forth by 25-foot seas on an average, and up to 50-foot waves that were recorded that night, you don't know. There would be no way to tell that boat was taking on water unless you visually saw it coming in. And in those kind of seas, everybody, I'm sure, was hunkered down in their bunks, hopefully seat belted in, or they got rocked. And so one of the other theories out there was the fact that maybe a Rogue End picked it up, because if you see a picture of the wreck, the nose got rammed into the seabed, and then the rear end of it, we'll say, the stern, proper name, gets twisted and broken off. And that's why there's no distress signals, because of the fact that it went nose first, where all the people were, right into the bottom, and broke in half, and there she sat. So, and nobody could figure out why. But they turned around and found out that we're coming up on the 50th anniversary, that the original investigation, believe it or not, was right. All the theories, everybody wanted to hold on hope. Nobody wanted to believe what actually happened, because people were worried about the crew would take the blame for this, saying they were complacent. It really wasn't their fault either. It turns out that it was bad equipment. The original investigation was right. Yo, Lord Star Fox, how we doing, brother? So we'll show you what one of the issues was that they didn't know about. We're going to open this up. So not only did the hatch covers fail because of the fact there were no gaskets in those hatch covers, they had literally big C clamps that were on there. Oh, uh-oh. Lord Starfox is in. I'm being interviewed. Love you, Mr. B. Love you too, my brother. Love and appreciate you. So what you're looking at here is a typical vent pipe on one of the lower Lakers. And what happened was they found out now with these new scans that are coming around that that vent pipe, which is a 4-inch pipe, 30 inches tall, got broke off. And it goes directly into this area of the ship. Whoops. That makes it a major problem because not only, I mean, when you're talking 25-foot seas coming across your bow and some of the clamps were bent, they found them broken. They found clamps missing, which was why nobody wanted to believe that. They didn't want to believe that was the issue, was because they were afraid that the crew would catch flack for it when it was just faulty equipment and wasn't really the crew's fault because some of those clamps were just not made to take the beating that that boat was put under. Here's a very simplified drawing of it, and where those hatch covers are, that vent also goes down. If you look at the bottom left, you can see where the hatch covers are in the center. The vent pipe would be off to the left of that arrow, and it goes directly down into the tunnels of the ship. So you can see right where it says shear strike, the 2 arrows for the tunnels. That's where Lord Starfox heard the Titanic had enough tub fire, but didn't have enough time to repair it. So they parked that outside at sea and began. Sorry, slow down. Lord Starfox heard the Titanic had a fire, but didn't have enough time to repair it. So they parked that site out to sea, and the bird hit a spot pop. That's one of the legends, and we'll talk about Titanic here in a little bit. Both scare me too, especially after my first book report was on Titanic. But we'll get back to that. So what happened to Edmund Fitzgerald was the fact that waves were breaking, clamps were falling off, and literally when that boat started to list and the captain noticed, McSorley made his last famous call, "We're holding our own." Probably didn't even know he was doinked at that point. That boat was going down no matter what they did because it was already listing. Water was coming in with that open vent pipe at roughly 4,000 gallons per minute. So the fact that it even stayed afloat as long as it did to go as far as it did is a testament to the boat, to the crew. And it also explains why it disappeared, because basically what happened is the wave catches it, the water sloshes back. As that bow comes back down, all that water comes rushing forward, so it literally just corkscrewed it right into the dirt. I mean, there was no coming back from that. That's why there were no life signals or no SOS or anything like that. No emergency calls, because there just wasn't time. And by the time they knew it, they're under 529 feet of water and the boat snapped in half. So the mystery has been solved as to what happened to that boat. There's no more theories of rogue waves. There's no more paranormal. There was paranormal talk about it. None of that. It really came down to, believe it or not, what the original Inquirer was back in 1977. I think the Coast Guard came out with their report that it was faulty hatch covers, and then they discovered the fact that the vent pipe got sheared off. So they were lucky that more boats did not sink like that because of that fault. So, and that was the other key. Let me backtrack a little bit. A lot of the other lower Lakers did go in and get retrofitted, and it was mandatory retrofitted after the Fitzgerald sank when they discovered, some of the flaws that were double hulled and things like that. So, like Titanic, that we're going to talk about next, tragedy turns into, unfortunately, safety for the future. But it's sad that it takes a tragedy like that in order to fix things that should have been fixed before tragedy struck. A friend of mine's uncle was on the Fitzgerald. That friend's name is Jeff Gilbert. I do not remember his uncle's name, but may that entire crew rest in peace. So now we'll address Titanic and the rumors that Lord Starfox brought up that it was true they had a fire, but they did get that out according to history. But it was one of the rumored things that they intentionally sank it to get the insurance money. There was rumors because at one point the Olympic had an accident. There was rumors that they name switched it in order to take it out and sink it and get the insurance money for that. There's all kinds of, it's no different than today. If there's a tragedy, there's going to be different theories than what actually happened. And actually, this was another case of where people didn't want to believe certain things. The fact that the Titanic went out and on April 14th on its main voyage strikes an iceberg at 11:45, sinks April 15th at 2:15 a.m. I doubt it was to avoid the taxes, so we can throw that theory out the window, even though April 15th, everybody knows we love that date. So maybe none of you put that together, but that could be a theory too, just tax evasion. But their original report was the fact that in order to sink that unsinkable ship, we had to have a huge gash. Had to be, absolutely horrendous. Had to be 300 feet. Here's the original diagram to show that. Sorry for you audio listeners that can't hear it, but basically it's a 300-foot gash that starts a few feet from the bow and goes down underneath the water line and runs back 6 compartments in the ship. That was the original finding. They also found that it went down intact. It did not break apart in the original finding. So they did everything they could to close this case very quickly, as the amount of life, was tragic, and it could have been avoidable with a few more lifeboats as we all look back now and think about it. And they also, White Star Line really were very kind. They were very generous. I hope you can note the sarcasm in that, because what White Star Line did for the people that were employed on that boat and who lost their life, you know what they did? They actually sent the families a bill for, this is 1912, remember, so this was kind of a lot of money. I believe it was, some of them got a bill for $5.98. Some of them got a bill for $11.12, depending on the amount of uniforms that didn't get returned by the crew for their passing. Yes, they actually sent the family bills for unreturned uniforms after their loved ones passed away on their ship. So that was their parting gift, was, you owe us money. Isn't that sweet? But those are their own consensus, 300-foot long gash. What they found when they found the wreck in 1985, Bob Ballard found it and found it in 2 pieces, which shocked everybody. Everybody thought it went down intact, despite the fact several of the witnesses who lived said it broke apart on the surface. And what does Titanic look like today? Actually, they did some new scans, so we can actually see it was a ridiculous number, 7 million photos within millimeters of each other, so you can actually see the whole thing complete for the first time and accurate down to within a couple millimeters scale wise. And yeah, I'm a Titanic freak. I do everything I can to stay on it. The only thing I won't do is go down in a sub made like a Pepsi can with a PlayStation 4 controller. Not only is it, let's face it, it's a little ironic though that you had, unfortunately, the millionaire ship go down, and then the billionaire sub, unfortunately, within 500 feet of it now. So what does Titanic look like today? This, believe it or not, is half of it. And as you can see, the bow has been plunged into the dirt due to the descent. Is actually bent down and to the side, again from the descent, from the angle that it came down because the bow was full of water. And believe it or not, folks, if you take, here, we'll use this as a measurement. They actually did LiDAR on it, but using the underwater version, and the amount of damage did cross the first 5 compartments. But if you look at this comic book right here, the total amount of damage, may as well open it up to my favorite character, right? See if we can find him here. The total amount of damage is literally, I kid you not, ECH amounts to, moment of drum roll here, as soon as I can find him. If you take 11 of these and lay them out on your living room floor, that is the total damage to the Titanic. It is not a 300-foot gash. It's merely a seam. And the radar proved it. And it was done several times by several different groups. Everybody's in agreement. There is no gash. It is literally just a zipper where the iceberg pushed hard enough on the boat to pop the rivets, open a small seam, and 11 comic books laying on end is what took the ship down. So when you're looking at this picture and you see the big hole in the right side, this is the side that the damage is on, by the way. It's just all buried in the mud at this point. That's after the fact that when it hit the bottom. So it kind of bent as it went. So the myth of the 300-foot gash is done. The new side scans reveal the fact. I thought that thing was going to hang around like 500-600 years, but it's probably it's not going to be very long, 50 to 100 years. And unfortunately, being respectful of those who are still in that boat, is nothing going to be but an orange stain at this point within 100 years. There's actually a plan, believe it or not, you can find it on YouTube if you search, $4.6 billion plan to try to preserve the wreck and maybe actually even try to raise it somehow. $4.6 billion. Somebody is willing to put into this boat to try to raise it. I don't know about you, but man, that's a lot of money. That 4.6, you know how many people that would feed? You know how many trail cams that would buy to buy Bigfoot stuff we could do with that? I love the Titanic, but let that be alone and let's put it toward Dogman and Bigfoot and heaven help us, peace on earth in some way. So yeah, there's updates on those boats. We do have I haven't had a chance to get the full story on this. There's a new trail cam photo out, and actually I'm going to pull it up and we can read it together because I did get the picture. The picture is amazing. It's a new trail cam photo out. BFRO, I think, is the one who broke the story, but there's YouTube on it. It's all over the internet of a new Bigfoot trail cam photo. Believe it or not, when people say they can't catch them on the trail cams, there are people starting to come forward with good trail cam pictures. I wonder if it's the fact that this picture winds up being during the day. And let's see here, not Expedition Bigfoot. We are looking at, let's bring the picture up so we got something to look at. RIP Titanic. picture is gone, but new Bigfoot photo is coming up. That is here. So I know I can't blow it up, but anybody who's home and watching, take a look. This is from Bluff, Missouri, halfway between St. Louis and Memphis. And it looks like Patty is standing in the middle of the river. So there's actually a really decent looking trail cam photo. And they've done a lot of, you can go to bfro.net and check this out. It is report number 79083, Class A. The recreation they've done, I know Squatch DTV put out a video. They actually had the person who took the trail cam on there. The amount of information they've been able to extract from this photo and try to recreate it, because they have the exact trail cam, so they know the lens, they know the distance, they know everything that you possibly can about this other than exactly what's in the picture. I say that like that's no big deal, but yeah, I mean, but the fact that they have the lens, they know the distance, they're able to do recreations, they're able to get accurate measurements. This one's going to be talked about for a while. And that's pretty cool, especially when you put that in up with the Monroe sighting this year. People are starting to get more and more good evidence. I mean, if anybody knows different, tell me, because right now this is one of the best trail cams, especially when you zoom in on it. The fact that the way it's high step in the water, and when they do the recreation with the people standing in the water, comparatively sized, it's pretty amazing when you look at it. It's not like, we'll take this one down. This one's making the rounds again. I thought this one was kind of funny. The fact that, sometimes these pictures, I don't know why they continue. Maybe it's for clicks for people who haven't seen them yet. But obviously they got me. So they got one click from me, whatever their YouTube ad rev will pay them. So we'll take a look at it. But this one has been debunked. This one's pretty easy. For anybody new, though, it is a learning experience, things to look for that you can look at pictures with and open eyes. And, this one was debunked pretty quick, if I remember right. This one's quite a few years old. It's actually, when you look at it, it looks like a big, monkey, but it's not. What it is it's a photoshopped gorilla upper body and with a big black bear butt. And you can tell right away because you can see the little button tail on it. You got a big bear butt cheeks on here. BEAR, not BARE. YouTube, please listen. It's not a bear butt, it's a bear butt. So, but it is funny. It is making the rounds again. And I don't remember the original story, but it changes every time it comes around. The arm, the legs. For anybody who doesn't know what what Bigfoot looks like, this ain't it. It's a nice thought, but it ain't it. And we'll get rid of that once and for all. Amy, something so crucial. Yep, simple and crucial for the hatches. Yep, that's terrible. Sorry, folks, I got behind the comments. Let's catch up. Hadn't heard the theory before. Oh, Amy, yeah, there is. Oh, I have a little tiny book, paperback book you can buy. It's like 101 Titanic Mythbusters. There are so many theories about why that boat went down. Yeah, they sent him a bill. sent them a bill for the uniforms when it was the crew who turned around and buy it up. How many trail cams would it buy? Oh, I don't have my phone. Wow. Oh yeah, I do. $4 billion. That would buy a lot. That's probably what's been sent out there. So now that we're caught up in chat, yeah, I mean Bigfoot is the sightings are seem like they're kind of picking up now, and I think we're going to get even a bigger influx here pretty quick because time's passing, folks. It's okay to actually talk about Bigfoot now, and we've got hunting season. Summer coming to a close, unfortunately, but we have hunting season coming up. You know, the fall. For me, it always seems like that's when business picks up. I don't know if it's because the leaves and the color make it easier to see because the camouflage is a little different. But it, you know, and people are out and population going into the woods. So maybe it is a fact of just more people out looking at the colors, and Bigfoot's out trying to stock up for the winter to keep the family fed. So I think business is going to pick up. Hopefully my recovery is fairly short. Should be 4 to 6 weeks, but hopefully I'm in the woods within days. There is a an event in October. I have to talk to my surgeon to see if I can get okayed for that. I don't know if I'll take a 9-hour bump or not, or if that's even good for me to go. So I need to get that discussed with the doctor, not to put a damper on it, pick it back up with the fact that we are going to photo crap. Not as many as Grizzly. I think Grizzly's got like 60 trail cams that he put out and left them for 6 months. We're only going to put a couple out, but it's someplace that, you know, trail cams haven't been, as far as I know, at least looking for the particular subjects we have. But as everybody knows, the DNR will think I'm just out there taking pictures of the bears. So everything, life will be good. As my dog picks his head up. Any questions as we're going, you know, let me know. Things that we want to keep pushing and keep hearing about what's happening in the Bigfoot world. You know, Dr. Meldrum was a terrible loss. But I did not know him personally. I did have a couple interactions with him on Messenger, which blew my mind. Because I never thought in a million years, and who knows, you know, it's Messenger. Was it him or was it his team? Who knows? I had the same thing, you know, Barb Hartman and I talked about candidates for the Mount Rushmore Bigfoot that we'll be putting a final tally on here pretty soon. So be sure to be ready to check that out. And, you know, put in chat too, or on in the comments, who you think deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of Bigfoot. It's a tough thing to decide when you really think about the people and how to decide it. Because to me, you've got at least 2 different generations of Bigfoot. And what I mean by that is as far as a division in time, because a lot of people, you've got your original 4 horsemen, you know, with Bendernagle and you got your Ron Moorheads in there, you got, and people that were investigating Bigfoot before Patterson Gimlin. And up until, you know, we'll call it the modern era of Bigfooting, those people got hammered. They were, you know, wackos. They were lunatics, full blown tart muffins, you name it. That's what they got called. Yet they still persisted. They gathered information. They totally did it for their own interest and interest in science and interest in the species. There was no fame to be gained by this. As a matter of fact, a lot of people took a lot of heat. Bob Gimlin kind of retreated from the Bigfoot world until Autumn Williams came around, and I think it was 2007-ish when he finally, had been 37 years, I remember, between the two interviews. So without Autumn Williams, you don't have Bob Gimlin coming back forward, I don't think. So that's where the modern era begins, when it becomes okay to talk about Bigfoot again. Because now you've had some shows out there. You've had Monster Quest. You've had, of course, Finding Bigfoot. You got to give them their props. Did they ever find him? No. But how are you going to... It was cool to watch. It was entertainment, which is what it was made for. But the other unexpected aspect of that show was it made Bigfoot mainstream as far as being able to talk about it. And yes, there have been festivals and stuff, but mainstream pretty much still made fun of you for doing it. Now the ridicule is much less. Now people actually get into it, not necessarily for the right reasons. People get into it because they want to capitalize possibly on fame or monetization. They stoop to stupid levels. Oh, if I could only curse. Anyway, hoaxing and everything else with it, just to make a buck, to get a click, to get a moment in a spotlight, yet they don't realize that they're tarnishing what other people are trying to do, which is, I don't want to say, not necessarily bring Bigfoot to life as far as being a species that, probably, or a type of people. That will probably never happen in my lifetime, but there are people out there who genuinely want to do it from their hearts. You have people like Grizzly, you've got people like me, you've got people like Barb Hartman, Tom Cantrell. Dr. Meldrum was the first one to bring real science to it, as far as, really putting his reputation on the line, and others who just want to know more. And we should be able to, as I'll allude to a certain individual, we should be able to have conversations about this without resulting in insults. We should be able to have conversations and debates with being based on facts, being based on knowledge in general, and not just, once you run out of your argument, resorting to hatred. So we should all be able to, whether you like it or not, folks, if you want free speech, there's going to be hate speech. So if you don't have that, then you're just censored. So with that, I'm going to get off my soapbox for the night. And, everybody say prayers for everybody that's gone this week. Please take a moment and remember Dr. Jeff Meldrum for what he did. I got to admit, one of my favorite moments of Dr. Meldrum's was a magical experience on Monster Quest. And I remember watching it for the first time where they were up on, I think they were calling it Ape Island at the time, but you had him, and I believe Steve Kulls was there, and there were several other researchers. They're out at night on this cabin on this island, and they turn around, and all of a sudden rocks start flying, and everybody's accounted for. They don't know where these rocks are coming from, but they're hitting the top, they're hitting the side of the cabin. And so all the people who are out there to find Bigfoot, these people want to prove Bigfoot is real. What do all these brave people do when the rocks start flying? They go into the cabin. So, and I think, and if I remember right, Dr. Meldrum alluded to, all the brave Bigfoot researchers are hiding in the cabin from potentially Bigfoot. So please take a moment. And if you want, share favorite moments that you remember in the comments. That would be great. For those of you who had personal interaction with him, I'm envious. And his stance and his methods will hopefully be passed on to the next generation. He'll definitely be remembered for it. And there's no doubt of the impact he left. So until next week, everybody, in light of everything that's happened, make sure you reach out to those you care about. Tell them you love them. Tell them you care. And from coast to coast and around the world, everybody, make sure you have a good weekend and enjoy what's left.
It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No. We're gonna watch and listen.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, shit, should we run?
No.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, should we run?
Okay. It's a grizzly.
Are you sure it's not a chipmunk? Action. No, I'm out of here. Action.
It's a grizzly.
I'm out of here.
Huh. Maybe it is a chipmunk. It's a grizzly.
Are we gonna die?
I don't know. We're just gonna sit here and listen and watch.
Let's get out of here, maybe.